So you just came up with an awesome game idea. Certain of the game's success, you lock your door, crank up the music, and get to work. Just a few months later, you finally get the game done, and it sucks. All because you had no one to share it with. It's a situation I probably would have found myself in if I didn't join a community. Hey there, I'm Tyler Watts. I'm an independent game developer focused on empowering aspiring game developers everywhere. Now, you've probably heard me talk a lot already about my indie project, Hookscrap. It's a 2D top-down space shooter roguelike with an emphasis on fast, fluid combat. Before all that though, I was just getting started with game development, and at one point I even considered quitting game development entirely. Thankfully though, I stuck to it and joined a community. In this video, senior Unity game developer Sam and I will be sharing with you why you should join a community and how we benefited from it. By joining a game dev community like our Go Make Games community Discord server and participating in events, you'll fast track your success as a game developer. I'll save that for the end of the video though, so for now let's jump right in. Now, you may recall in my first video on this channel, I shared with you one tip that you can use to start game development off right, and that's to simply make something. Now, while that tip can definitely start you off right, it's even more important that while making that something, you find and join a community. Community involvement has been proven time and time again to be a contributing factor of success for many game developers. Take indie dev Eric Barone as an example. Before his hit indie game Stardew Valley reached over 1 million copies, he was simply promoting his game on the Harvest Moon forums. The game his game was based on. His first few posts were so well received that eventually Barone was able to form and grow a community of his own. And undeniably, it's that audience, that community, that led to the success of his game. Now, you don't have to form a community of your own like Eric did. You can also just go ahead and join one. That's what Sam and I did, right Sam?
That's right, Tyler. No matter what step you are in your growth as a game developer, you can't escape the eventual fact that you're going to be interacting with others. And when starting out, community has allowed me to learn from my own failures and see how my conversations are absorbed by others. Things like, what is a good idea? What is not really pushing anything forward in our games? These are things that you regularly have to engage with when you're talking to people in your field. And without these experiences, engaging in your field is more difficult because you'll feel like you're making things up as you go. And without getting the affirmation that you're on the right track, you'll just be lost as you're progressing through.
And are these improvements you started to notice once you got involved in a community?
Oh yeah, I think I feel more confident talking to other people in the field.
And it just so happened that community you joined happened to be Game Dev Nights, which is the one I joined, right?
Yeah, when I joined GDK, the Game Development Nights, the summer before I started at UCF, it gave me a lot of insight into what the experience was going to be and what I was going to be in for. And I got to meet a lot of people before I even started. Yeah, pretty much the rest is history. What about you though? Would you say that at GDK as event director that you've grown and have been able to create experiences for other people?
Absolutely, Sam. You know, looking back on my game dev journey, I think everything changed for me once I joined a community. I at first joined Game Dev Nights after inquiring for help regarding my Space Invaders clone, and before I knew it, I was involved in events. I was making more games than I had in the past few months, and most importantly, I've made probably the most important connections I've made in my life. If it wasn't for me taking that initial leap of faith, I probably wouldn't have formed an indie team at all. And I kind of owe it to you as well. I've said it before. But if it wasn't for you helping me with Space Invaders, I wouldn't be here right now, or at least making this video.
Oh yeah, being in a group and seeing other people's success and progress is motivating. You get to feel like you can see a path forward. Like when you were making your Space Invaders game, I'm sure if people saw you struggling and asking questions, but eventually saw that something came out of it, it feels like it's something that they can do themselves too.
Yeah, it's super rewarding, I agree, to see other people succeed, and you know, you feel like you almost have to match that, and I feel like that's what really drove me to go as far as I have now.
I agree. And while I love making things up as I go, I think a community generates intellectual progress as a whole. Independently, you can only go so far, but with a group, you increase your effectiveness tenfold. There's a quote, and it's, to do game dev is to suffer, and to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. And I think that for us doing game dev, the meaning that we found in this suffering is community. and having other people to share that with.
Definitely, because I mean, you could put in all the hours, all the work, but if you have no one to share it with, then what good does it do, you know?
Right? You're just making games on your own and suffering all alone.
It's better to suffer with others, not by yourself.
Exactly.
Thanks, Sam. Hopefully by now, after seeing the success that's come with developers that have joined a community and the pros that come with it, you're motivated to join a community too. A great way to join a game dev community is by joining the Go Make Games community Discord server. A server which I'm happy to announce will now be a hub for consistent weekly events. The first of which will be a game night where we'll all play a game chosen by you, the community. You can join us for our first game night on Sunday, December 11th at 6 p.m. EST. But wait, it gets better. If you liked hearing about Eric Barone's story and his game Stardew Valley, this book, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, has you covered. It's a great book documenting the stories behind many popular games in the industry. Games like Stardew Valley. It's a book we'll be covering on our Discord server with our first book club. We'll be covering a chapter every week on our Discord server on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. EST. But maybe that's not enough and you want even more, in which case you're free to go to my website gomakegames.net where you can schedule a phone call or a face-to-face meeting with me. I'm happy to help you out with any game dev problems you're having. So let's chat. If you enjoyed this video, I actually make videos like these every week focused on empowering aspiring game developers like you everywhere. If you don't want to miss another one, be sure to like, share, and subscribe down below. If you want to see more, you're free to check out the next video, which I'll have right here. And until then, dev on.